previous administration is that with the previous administration, you see such corruption that people are trying to actually make a disaster as bad as possible for a desired political or financial outcome. While, like what you said, the first responders were there, the response was ready before the calamity even began to happen here in Texas with the floods. And so I think that's a pretty fair point. But obviously, there's been a lot of developments over the course of the last several days regarding the Trump administration. I think that Trump has done a really good job in a lot of ways. I'm still glad that I voted for him simply by virtue of the fact that he pardoned all the J6ers. I mean, that's a good enough reason for me to be satisfied with my vote for Donald Trump. That being said, there are some things that are very concerning, namely the fact that they're saying now that there isn't a Jeffrey Epstein client list. What are your guys's, I know you've been busy doing other things, saving lives and helping people get internet access in a tragedy disaster zone, but what are your initial thoughts with the latest developments in the Epstein investigation?
Well, I'll start.
Sure.
I'm pretty passionate about it. It's the Epstein. It's absolutely disgusting that we've been told by Pam Bondi that we had files on her desk.
Yeah.
And there's news clips. There are truckloads on one way to another. And then to be told the case is closed. So I was frustrated yesterday. If you follow my X page,
sure.
I had a day of unleashing on it. Yeah, you know, it's frustrating. Again, I would put Trump on Mount Rushmore, and I would vote for him again in 2028 if he was. I mean, I fully support Trump, MAGA as can be. We were promised the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And for them to come out 6 months later, and as an American, all I want is the truth. If Pam Bondi gets on TV, I think Pam Bondi should absolutely do a press conference right away and say, this is what it is. This is the truth. Something else came up. We can't get them to you yet. But to say case closed, it's concerning. And I think it should concern everybody because we got child rapists walking the street.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, this is something that, you know, maybe I've missed something. You know, maybe you can explain it to me if I've missed something. Because, I mean, Gunter can tell you, my head has been down into everything that we've been doing down there in Kerrville and such. And so it's been, you know, I haven't followed every single aspect of this story. But it seems like we were told there were documents. We were told there was something on Pam Bondi's desk. That there was going to be the phase 1 binders. That was just a total farce. That was a setup. I was invited to that, and I'm so glad I didn't go because that was a total setup meant to embarrass not embarrass the influence, but use their clout, let's say, to push this message that, oh, yep, okay, the Epstein files are actually being released. Here you go. You know, even though they knew that it was a total farce. But you can't say that there's more to it, that there are more documents and such, and then say, oh, well, case is closed. We're not answering any more questions. And then, you know, we get chastised for asking about it.
Yes.
You can't do that. I feel like I'm living in you know, a freaking, like, what, fever dream or something? Like, I don't understand why. It's just like now they're just trying to say that it's gone and there's nothing else there, no questions. You're not allowed to ask about it. And I said it on X the other day. This is not going away. Pam Bondi should have done a presser or something that day, like they would do with, you know, if they arrest, you know, 3 people for jaywalking, they do a press conference at the DOJ. Yeah, that's just how they operate.
We've caught 204 child predators in the last 7 days. I'm thinking to myself, that was one of the things that her and Cash bragged about, was 204. And that's great that in the last 7 days, you've arrested or charged 204 child predators. But based on all the statistics and studies that I've looked at, and what percentage of the population has those tendencies, that means there's millions of them in the United States. And if you caught 204 in 7 days, that's, what is it, 4 in every state? You're never going to catch them all that way. That's not that impressive. I mean, Alex Rosen has been responsible for the arrest of more child predators as an individual with a phone and a small team than what the FBI was bragging about at the federal level. And it's great. We should be catching all the child predators, but I don't know. I mean, there were thousands of kids that were the victims of many predators and it's all just going away. If I had to guess what's happened, there's a lot of people coming out and they're trying to say, oh, Trump's not releasing the information because he's on the list. And I think that's BS, because if he was on the client list, he certainly would have known that. So why would he have ever signed an executive order his first week in office to ensure that all the Epstein files and lists be released if you know that you're on it?
Right.
So my guess is that he signed the executive order in order to keep the campaign promise, and he genuinely wanted the Epstein files to be released, and that through the process of this investigation, there's information that he previously was not aware of that was brought to him that made him change his mind. And they're just saying that there was no list as an excuse because they don't want to imply or indicate what that information might have been to make Trump change his mind. But it's not that he's on the list, in my opinion.
So this is what I've been saying this publicly for quite a while, is I don't believe that there is a list in the sense that, you know, people want there to be, but a list can be compiled based on, okay, phone records, that can, you know, the videos. I mean, you're saying there are tens of thousands of videos of what? I mean, he had cameras in every bedroom, every bathroom. Where are those videos? Why is there a minute missing from the jail video that we got the other day?
Victim statements.
Yeah, victim statements. Are all these women that came forward, are all of them liars? You know, it seems odd. And why you're not helping anything at all by just refusing to answer even the most basic questions about it. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to ask, you know, why is there a minute missing in this video? I mean, that seems like a fair, if you're trying to definitively say that nobody came in or out of that block in that 10-hour span or whatever it was, and then there's a minute missing, you have to account for that minute. What happened there? You know, just any answer. We don't have anything.
Or you got nothing. Even if the explanation is perfectly reasonable.
Right.
And I think her explanation was very weird, but they should have known that 1 minute was going to be a problem and gotten ahead of it. And like, look, this is the software that the prison uses in order to store its files. It's set to, you know, do a defragmentation process for 1 minute every single day to ensure that it always records. You know what I mean? They could have gotten ahead of it, but it's just like the lack of a sense of the pulse of the American people and our attitude about these conspiracies, I think, is indicative of a real detachment from the people, from Bondi specifically. I think Trump knows exactly what's going on with the people, but Bondi seems to me she comes off to me like a little bit like a pageant girl, but more like a valedictorian, where she was probably incredible at writing the perfect essay for the perfect teacher and getting perfect grades on every test. If she knew what someone else needed her to do for them, she could probably do that perfectly, live up to someone else's vision or expectation within an already established system or institution. But from a leadership standpoint, I don't think she has any intuition about what's really going on. I think she's a reactive person rather than a proactive person. And what we're seeing is what happens when you make a valedictorian type the attorney general, when we really need somebody who's aggressive and shoots from the hip and acts on principle and impulse without fear. I mean, the whole thing that she's been doing this whole time as the attorney general is going on Fox, trying to represent the Department of Justice from a PR standpoint, when what we really want is a Department of Justice that establishes justice rather than a Department of Justice that tries to convince you that it's establishing justice.
Right. Pam Bondi needs her own PR person.
Yeah.
Fox News.
Yeah.
And just do her job. But now I really believe exactly what you're explaining. She has to come out tomorrow. I mean, ASAP, and explain what she was saying, what she was doing, why she said something, just to get truth out there. As the American people, we deserve truth, especially about the Epstein files.
I agree.
You know, Pam has this, and we've seen it from like the first weeks of the administration, where she talks and talks and talks and talks, and it doesn't sound real either. I mean, it's not convincing what she says on TV, especially. You know, and then you had the James O'Keefe expose that happened on her, where she was caught. You know, that's when she actually she was forced to admit that there were videos, because, you know, she had to get ahead of the James O'Keefe expose. She knew it was coming. She knew she was caught, and so we wouldn't even have known that information unless she was caught on hidden camera admitting that. So she's not. She doesn't have. Who trusts Pam Bondi at this point? That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see her poll numbers. Is anybody on a poll on Pam Bondi?
And it's not even whether or not I did a poll. I did a Pam Bondi poll.
Did you?
I said, yeah. Is Pam Bondi more likely to give me a blowjob or release the Epstein?
Oh my God!
It had like thousands of votes, and it was like 90% the blowjob. And I guess I was right. Everybody was right on that poll, folks. We're coming up on a break in 26 seconds. I'm going to keep you guys, if you're willing. I know it's late, for just another 30 minutes because I'm really enjoying this conversation. Make sure you guys go to the AlexJonesStore.com right now.
You doesn't tell me. Possibly more than me.
But not with that picture.
Not with that picture, and not without.
There we have Hegseth and Netanyahu sitting down together for a meeting amidst this visit from Netanyahu less than 24 hours after the Epstein files were. It was revealed to the public that there is no client list. We had Netanyahu visit. Apparently, he presented President Trump with a B-52 model made from all scraps of Iranian missiles that had been used against Israel. And of course, yesterday or the day before, man, the days just run together when you don't sleep. Bibi Netanyahu presented Donald Trump with the nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize. And look, I think that Donald Trump probably should win the Nobel Peace Prize. He's the only president in however long it's been, guys, that didn't start any new wars in his first administration. And as terrified as I was of the decisions that he made regarding Iran recently, I think he's been proved correct that it de-escalated everything. I thought it was going to start World War III. I was saying don't do it. I was wrong. He's the master there. So he has de-escalated a conflict between Pakistan and India, and he's de-escalated a conflict between Iran and Israel. And the only real conflict that's still playing out is the one between Russia and Ukraine, which only exists because of the last administration. So I honestly think that Trump is a really good candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize. I wouldn't want to win it myself, given the others who have won it in the past. But what bothered me was seeing Bibi Netanyahu present it. And it's not because I'm in the camp of everything's Israel. I don't believe that. I don't think that Israel is the only country or the Jewish people are the only people who are capable of evil, like some people do. And I also don't believe that they're the only people incapable of evil, like some people do. I'm just kind of reasonable about it. I don't generally trust governments. But when you have someone who's been engaged in, let's just, to say the least, it has been a controversial conflict since October 7th. It seems inappropriate. I know that if I was a world leader and I had been accused of war crimes in several countries, even if I knew that I was innocent of them, I would not burden someone with receiving a nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize from me. You know, I would think that would be like almost, maybe we should call somebody else to do it, right? Who's the president of Madagascar? What do you guys think?
You know, I am just so tired of talking about foreign countries. I can't express to you how much I just don't care, man. I don't care. I mean, is that wrong? Am I allowed to just not care what happens overseas at this point? I care about what happens right here. I care about the people in this country. I don't like. I gotta watch what I say here, but you know, I don't.
You don't.
No, I don't. You're right. But it makes no difference to me what happens in Africa.
Hey, 78 million people voted for America first.
Right.
Yeah.
There is. It's not America first, you know, alongside other countries like our what was it, the Secretary of State's press secretary said. America's the greatest country in the world next to Israel.
Yeah.
Just come on. It's not, you know, we guys, we have a clear mission here. It's America first, not sometimes, but always. And, you know, I'm not shy about saying that. You know, I don't want to, you know, people ask me, they're like, during this whole thing that was going on in, between Iran and Israel, people were constantly saying, you're just anti-Semitic. You're siding with Iran. It's like, no, literally, it's me not wanting to get involved at all in another foreign war. Trump handled it great. I was pushing back against the Lindsey Grahams of the world.
Oh, yeah. We just need more boots on the ground, Nick. And in fact, I hope those soldiers just wear the boots. I think those soldiers look real good, Justin.
Hey, that's great right there. That's like on point.
Anyway, if we got to fly with Israel, we got to fly with Israel. If we got to sleep with the IDF soldiers, we got to sleep with the IDF soldiers. Folks, we're coming up on a 1-minute break, just very short, while radio stations pick us up after the first 5. We're going to unpack this all for the next 20 minutes. Stay with us. I am Chase Geiser. This is Tomorrow's News Tonight. And for the next 22 minutes and 38 seconds, I will be joined in studio by the great Nick Sordor and Gunther Eagleman. It is really an honor and a pleasure to have you both here. We were talking during the break, making fun of Lindsey Graham and how he's a closet homosexual. And we were saying that we don't care that he's gay. It's just weird that he hides it. And we're so sick of a political class that hides stuff from us, whether it's the Epstein files, whether it's what they're actually doing with our money, whether it's the waste, fraud, and abuse of USAID for years hidden from us. I just want you, Lindsey Graham, to admit to us that you're gay, and that's fine. Look, I get it, man. You're trying to help out Ukraine. You want to give them tens of billions of dollars because everybody knows I love a man in Hugo Boss. Oh my gosh. So Nick, tell me a little bit about your confrontation with Lindsey Graham. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't an in-person confrontation because he hides. Lady G is one of the best. Literally, I mean, the U.S. Capitol hide-and-seek champion. I've tried. I spend a lot of time at the Capitol. I mean, I've gotten Maxine Waters like 3 times now.
You got to stand outside the women's restroom, dude. You're at the wrong
That's the problem. See,
there you go.
You got. But it was when I ended up finally getting a response from her on X at some point when I called out his expenditures in Ukraine, like these wildly huge expenses to go over to Ukraine, like 3 times in the past 6 months now.
Do you remember?
It was like each trip is hundreds of thousands of dollars just in hotel rooms. And you're like, what do you do? What kind of room service are you ordering, Lady
I like
G?
a warm town, young man.
Yeah, right. Like, look at this thing. And so this is one of Trump's worst decisions right here. I mean, I'm sure that there is some sort of deal making going on in the background, but man, I mean, I don't know what they're doing there in South Carolina. I don't know if this guy, is what South Carolinians look at and like, yeah, that's who I want representing me in the Senate. I don't buy that.
Where's his pride flag?
But it's totally good. Like you said, it's fine if you're gay, Lindsey. Just tell. It's the fact that you,
Tom Cotton.
We're not even. We won't even make fun of you for being gay as long as we're making fun of the fact that you're hiding that you're gay.
I don't care
That's
if
it.
You like to suck dick, but as soon as you're like about it, it's like shut up, fag.
I don't know. I mean, he's a total piece of work. He's one of our biggest adversaries of the America First movement on Capitol Hill, and President Trump came out and endorsed him like immediately. I'm like, bro. Yeah, but the thing is, with President Trump, that the endorsements, first of all, they sometimes don't stick. Secondly, sometimes he endorses. Is there any flattering picture of this guy? Like,
I'm just going to put on my khakis before we go to the front.
But anyway, there are times where...
I've never been surrounded by so many men.
Dude, that's so perfect.
He's got it down. He's always got it down. But there is that possibility that if we can get somebody in South Carolina, if you're watching and you have a lot of money and a reasonable, good political acumen, and you're in South Carolina, please send me a DM, run for office, because, you could get endorsed by Trump as well. There are times where he endorses 2 candidates in the same race, and I
hope they both win.
Yep.
I like them both. I hope they both win. A deal, both sides win if it's a deal. Yeah. And it's not just Lindsey Graham too. It's all of these members of the gerontocracy, this political class that appears to be from before the Great Flood with Noah's Ark. I mean, it's just so antiquated. I couldn't believe it when I found out that Joe Biden was born just like 4 years after the air conditioning was invented for the automobile. and you realize he was like 3 or 4 years old by the time Hitler died. So he's old enough, if he could remember anything, to remember Hitler's speeches on the radio. This guy is like so ancient. It's a totally different time that he comes from. And then he's like the most powerful man ever after being a senator for years and never accomplishing anything other than the undermining of the interests of the American people. But why do you think that it's like a situation with like a demographic issue where there's this type of Republican who falls into the baby boomer category and they only get their information from like a Fox News, and so they just don't understand or are not aware of the fact that people like Lindsey Graham, like, they suck?
He literally does.
Yeah. Better blowjobs than no jobs. Better blowjobs than no jobs. We got to fund that military-industrial complex. Don't ask, don't tell.
Perfect.
You know, the thing with
I like her, but she's not my type.
you know, I don't want to piss off too many people.
Oh,
here,
hey,
but there's
Michelle. How are you doing?
Big Mike.
I like you. Wonder why, Lindsay. Go ahead. Sorry, Nick.
No, but you saw Madison Cawthorn. If you remember him, you know,
Yeah.
directly calling out Lindsey Graham for this kind of thing, and then all of a sudden, you know, the walls close in on Madison Cawthorn.
Yeah, what happened with that?
Well, because he exposed the fact that Kevin McCarthy was facilitating with Lindsey Graham drug-fueled orgies on Capitol Hill, and then all of a sudden they pushed him out.
I forgot about that.
I don't think he's lying about. I don't think. Why would he lie about that? There's no good reason for Madison Cawthorn to. Look, see, man, you got some great guys in the back here.
Oh,
They're always
amazing.
ready.
They're amazing.
Orgy and cocaine, you know. And you know, talk to Matt Gaetz about it. Matt Gaetz will be like, yeah.
Honestly, I would be willing to tolerate the orgies and the cocaine if they were doing everything else right. You know, it's like,
I mean, if that's what helps them make America great,
Orgy
you know.
on the taxpayer. Thank you so much for getting us out of war.
All we need is that yes vote. All we need is a yes vote.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
what was that guy?
You
that
see
was
that?
the Senate House porn where he was slamming that.
Oh,
dude's butt.
yeah.
Lindsey Graham. I'm so glad that leaked. Huh? I think I got it leaked a little bit. Oh man.
It was right there on Amy Klobuchar's seat.
I'd like to primary that guy. Unbelievable. So what's going to happen next with this big, beautiful bill? And is Trump's reputation and going to be able to recover after this Epstein stuff? How are these things that are all kind of hovering in the air going to play out? Gunther, what do you think, man?
Well, I think the big, beautiful bill, the tax break for the American
That's great,
people,
yeah.
absolutely. I think it'll play out for the economy really well.
Yeah.
I think people spend money. I think people have extra money. You know, I go back to I think the Epstein files, somebody needs to step up and talk. I think that's gonna bite some people in the ass.
Absolutely. Do you think that this America Party from Musk is going to be seriously problematic? Or do you think this schism is going to mend itself in time?
I think it's going to mend itself in time. Last I checked, the polling was at 4%.
Yeah.
I don't think that, you know, I think Musk has his idea of it with his feud with Trump. I like what they've both done for the country.
Sure, me too.
I think Elon helped Trump cross that finish line.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying Trump.
It's not even the endorsement that did it. It was just the fact that he made X a free speech platform.
Right.
The fact that there was free speech in a massive way on the internet was enough to get Trump to win,
Huge.
even if he'd never endorsed it.
Imagine if on X that we didn't have that free speech.
I remember what it was like a few years ago, but before it was X, when it was still Twitter. I was self-censoring all the time. I would save what I wanted to post in drafts, and I went back and looked at them, and they were just hilarious, man. But I just knew I couldn't post them because the censorship was so rampant.
Yeah. Well, I think I put a couple years back, COVID was the flu. I mean, it was like gone. 7 days.
You're lucky you didn't lose your whole account over that.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I've been suspended twice, both, I guess, mistakes.
Yeah.
And was brought back. And now that with free speech, it's been great. The
massive reporting campaigns and the bots are insane.
Yeah.
Do you know what post? Oh, go ahead, Nick.
No, go.
Do you know what post triggered the suspension?
It was a meme on the last one. It was a Joe Biden in the shower meme with Ashley.
Yeah.
And it got mass reported. And it wasn't bad. I mean, there was no nudity or anything.
Right.
It got mass reported. And within 42 minutes, I was back up.
That's funny. I was on, I think it was Newsmax. I can't remember. Chris something, some Italian name. It's the host of the show. And they asked me what I thought of the raids on Mar-a-Lago. And I remarked that they kicked me off the air right after this. They never invited me back. I said, look, they're saying that Donald Trump is keeping classified documents and information in a bathroom in a shower in Mar-a-Lago. And I was like, but the only president I know of who's ever committed a crime in a shower is Joe Biden. If you, and it was like, oh, thanks, Chase, for coming on. That was great. He's like, oh, nobody's ever actually seen that diary. I'm like, oh, you should read it, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? The greatest part about X, I think, is, you know, people think that, oh, well, it's just an echo chamber and it's not real life and such. But the reason that you saw, like, let's say in the Oval Office today, I could name lots of examples, but in the Oval Office, they talk about the sentiment that MAGA feels toward the DOJ and the administration right now for basically saying the Epstein files are just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah.
And, you know, that sentiment is relayed to legacy media from X. It's not on any other platform. You're not allowed to talk about this stuff on any other platform. And that's where this stuff is getting the most traction, the most views. You know, going back to like what's going on in say Western North Carolina, Maui, Texas, like these things are. The reason that they are so covered is because of this platform, and I think it's literally. I'm not trying to fluff Elon or anything here, but it is a massive game changer in the media sphere. Like I think Alex Jones was banned from Twitter,
100%,
and like every other platform.
Yeah, we were literally just on the radio for years because we got banned everywhere else, and it all happened within the same week, I think, because it was a conspiracy among the different tech leaders, and that's a whole other story. I mean, everybody's heard it a million times. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this new development with this FBI criminal probe into John Brennan and James Comey. And guys, I want to play clips 42 and 16 back to back, 42 and 16. First, we're going to see President Trump responding to the criminal investigation of James Comey and John Brennan. And then we're going to see John Brennan respond to the probe on MSNBC. It's just disgusting. So play 42 and 16 back to back, please.
Hey, President Trump, James Comey and John Brennan now under criminal investigation related to the Trump-Russia probe. Do you want to see these two guys behind bars?
Well, I know nothing about it other than what I read today, but I will tell you, I think they're very dishonest people. I think they're crooked as hell, and maybe they have to pay a price for that. I believe they are truly bad people and dishonest people. So whatever happens, happens.
As you point out, Marco Rubio, who, you know, he's a different person now, quite frankly. I think when he was in the Intelligence Committee, I think he really tried to carry out national security responsibilities in a very appropriate manner and tried to not just, bring politics into it. Again, I think that SSCI report, the Mueller investigation, the Durham investigation and review, all of this, I think, again, validates what happened in terms of Russian interference, the conclusions of that assessment, that Russia tried to interfere to enhance Donald Trump's prospects in that election, to damage Hillary Clinton, and to undermine the integrity of our election process. Those have really stood up and have been validated and supported by subsequent reviews, very thorough reviews. So again, this is something that I think is made up out of, unfortunately, whole cloth, and they're just trying to see what they're able to get to stick to the media wall.
Made up out of whole cloth. You would know something about that. It's unbelievable. What do you guys think? Do you think this probe is going to amount to anything?
It's hard to look. There's a lot that's happened this week. Okay, It's been a lot. Until we get some sort of answers about why the Epstein investigation disappeared, it's really hard for me to believe that anything is going to go anywhere at this point. And I don't feel like that's I feel like that's a pretty fair opinion to have. It's tough. We need some answers, because Epstein was also under. They were also said they were going to take a deep dive into all that, release all the files and everything. Obviously, we already talked about this. They didn't do it. I want so badly to trust everything these people say, but after we were just like, I feel betrayed almost a little bit. That was a promise. Just at least give us what you have, make us feel a little bit better with it. And not feel like we were just like totally lied to. I don't know. I mean, is that a fair opinion at this point?
Is it a distraction, Nick?
Well, you got in trouble for asking that question last night on Twitter. So, and that's a possibility. And the reason that The reason that I have such a hard time like saying that this is a distraction or something is because I believe Dan Bongino is a good guy. I do. I believe that
he's a really good.
Yeah, and so like I sit here and I trip over my words because I'm like, you know, if it was, and that is the only thing holding me back from just ripping this entire thing apart is because I believe at this point that Dan Bongino is a good guy, and if he has the power to do it, he's not going to be engaged in any sort of cover-up. He's not going to cover for pedophiles and such. Right. He doesn't need this. I mean, it's not like this is his career. He can go back to doing whatever he was doing before.
He does look freaked out, though, relative to his clips from a couple years ago. You look at clips from his podcast, and he's happy, and he's got life in him. He looks freaked out in everything that I see of him.
And so at this point, like, I haven't made up my mind on how I feel about this yet. You know, typically I'm very, very opinionated. I'm very quick on my opinions to give it to you. But, like, at this point, I have so many questions, and I'm trying so hard to give Dan Bongino in particular the benefit of the doubt that...
I think Kash Patel seems like the kid in junior high that lied about where he went on vacation on spring break to impress his friends. You know? Oh, you went to Hawaii? Yeah, that's cool. I went to the Great Wall in China and hung out with the president, you know?
Yeah.
Tim Walz is like, really?
Tim Walz.
That must have been awesome.
Oh, my God.
Were there tampons in the bathroom?
Oh, dude. The way he would just walk around like this on the stage, you know? He's like literally like, I'm like, dude, are you trying to act like your kid? Like, oh, where he gets it from? It's unbelievable to me how disconnected this like the entire political class is from anything.
How he was loading his shotgun and unloading his shotgun.
Yeah.
Why did they publish that video?
You got to keep a clean
that was the worst
air filter.
idea of his PR guy was to post that picture.
Yeah,
the one where he's sitting there struggling to figure out. He's like, "Oh, this has been in the family for so long, or whatever."
It's like Chuck Schumer making burgers.
Oh man, he's never gonna live that one down.
Yeah, I wear a camo hat all the time.
You should have seen the memes when I posted the other day about Chuck Schumer being in the hospital in D.C. It was like it was the burgers, wasn't it? That's it. It had to be. He was making lunch again. That's it.
He was in the hospital.
Yeah, he was in the hospital. They said it was an allergic reaction, but it was coincidentally right around lunchtime. So, you know, it was, I don't know, man.
Could have been that burger.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, nobody really had any concern about what he was actually in the hospital for. So, I don't know. Weird. Can't imagine why.
Well, he would certainly be sorely missed. So, my thing with this FBI investigation, it seems like oftentimes these investigations are simply so they can say that they did an investigation and found nothing. We just saw a little bit of that with the Epstein thing. We certainly saw it with the Hillary Clinton emails in 2016. There's a pattern throughout history of we did an investigation, we couldn't find any evidence of crime, third parties or whatever. So there's that angle where they can at least say that they looked into it and then deny that there's any evidence, which seems really plausible to me. And the other factor when it comes to the Brennans and the Comeys, we know that the CIA and the FBI, they're very siloed organizations. There's need to know, and they isolate information that way. There are cliques within the organization. There are people that are the MAGA people in the white hats, and there are the people that are more subversive. And it's not like one thing. It's the culmination of many things that are conflicting and even having internal schisms and battles with themselves. There's this whole subversive war going on, I think, within our own intelligence community that we never hear about because, well, that's what an intelligence community does. And so, that being said, I think there are people within the FBI that are still certainly Comey acolytes that, you know, think he was great. He never did anything wrong. What he was doing was in the best interest of the national security of the United States. I think that there are still people within the CIA certainly that love Brennan. And they thought, oh, it was good that we were calling attention to this Russia hoax thing, even if it was made up, because Donald Trump is a major threat to national security. We've seen that attitude from the political class and the deep state around Trump for 10 years now. And so I'm thinking, who within this organization is actually doing the probe or the investigation? Because the organizations that are investigating them are just as likely to be the organization that would cover for them.
Right. So, you know, I spoke at the, I spoke with be careful how I say this, a very high-ranking